Howdy. Howdy duties. Is this thing on? Is this live? It has been so long since I've done a TikTok live. I'm feeling a bit out of alignment, maybe like a car, or just that I need some practice. So help me out here. Oops, there we go. I'm just figuring stuff out here. So, hey, Haley, nice to see you. New Attitude and Casey and Sonia, all the good folks, all the people in Puppet Land, and Cat Mama and Catherine and Megan and Amazing Day and Patricia and Megan. Yay, nice to see everybody. It has been a while. It's been, I think, legitimately a week since I've done a TikTok live. It feels like so much longer, though. It just feels, it felt very strange to not be showing up every couple of days and saying, hey, how can I help you with your clutter? Dana, good afternoon to you as well. So in case you're just kind of scrolling on your FYP and I've popped up, my name is Beth. I am a destination, my coaching is called Destination Decluttered because I travel and I like to road trip, and also figuring out how to treat my life like a road trip really has changed my life, and I want to help you with that. But I'm a decluttering life coach. So what I do is I do these TikTok lives, pretty informal. It's just me talking to my phone here in my office. And if you've been here before, you know that sometimes, Cat Mama, yep. Cat Mama saying, was trying to find you this morning. Where is the schedule listed? Good question. So if you are on the Destination Decluttered email mailing list, you will have gotten an email last week that said when my TikTok lives are. However, I don't pressure anybody into doing anything, so I don't pressure you to get onto my mailing list. So if you're looking for the schedule for my TikTok lives, look on the Destination Decluttered TikTok live, like my TikTok page. And if you look at the top 3 videos, you're allowed to pin 3 videos at the top. One of them will always be kind of when my next TikTok lives are. I will be honest, I had to check it myself to make sure that I was doing one today. I was pretty sure I was going to do one, but I wasn't sure what time. So the Cat Mom, if there you want. Idaho Princess, nice to see you. Good morning. You know what? I literally just signed on right now because I got back from traveling yesterday, and I had some coaching and some stuff to do this morning, but I am back. And I am going to be back for the next couple of weeks. Maybe, I'm going to show up a lot more often. But we had about a week planned where we were off the grid, and I'm excited to be back. I know this sounds goofy, but I loved being away. I love the weather. We were in sunny California. Now we're back in gray Pennsylvania. And while I enjoyed being there, I also love what I do. And so I am happy to be back as well. And I am here, and I am here to help you with your clutter. First of all, let's start with some wins. Like, if anybody has decluttered in the time that since the last time I did a TikTok live, let me share them here. Let's all cheer each other on. We always forget to accentuate the positive. We'll say, like when I'm coaching people, I do one-on-one coaching, and they'll be like, yeah, I did this, but here's all the other stuff I have to do. And I say, here, let's put on the brakes. Let's put on the brakes and let's accentuate the positive, as the old song goes. Let's congratulate you and high five and reinforce the wins. No matter how small or big they are, they all get you moving towards where you want to go. So being decluttered just helps you live your life more easily in your home. Don't you want to do that? I will say, because of the fact that we have so much less clutter in the house than we used to, it's easy for me to find stuff. It takes so much less time, even getting ready for a trip. I know where my luggage is. I know where my clothes are. I know where my toiletries are. I know what I'm going to pack because I don't have too many things that are overwhelmingly. I don't know which ones to take. There we go. Shell Shock is saying, I got my living room completely cleared. I've been working on it for months. Awesome, Shell Shock. I love it. Congratulations. And especially for sticking to it when it's taken you some months. This isn't an overnight process, everybody. So don't get discouraged when it's not like HGTV. Do you notice when they do those before and after shows? They're always fast forwarding through the boring bits. They also always have a team of people doing it, and that's why they cram it into a half hour. For those of us who are humans doing it ourselves, it takes a little bit longer, but it's worth it. So congratulations. I love it. Robin, thank you for welcoming me home. Katie B says, I was able to fill a box of donation items that I was going to sell, but realizes this was better. All right, there we go. I love it. OSU grad just got on my mailing list. Yes, if you're interested in being on the mailing list, destinationdecluttered.com/join. There's like a one little form. You just put your email in there. You get an automatic email. I do like a free monthly Zoom call, a group Zoom. It's kind of like group coaching. That's going to be coming up in February. Also, you get the first dibs on if you want to be one of my clients, consultations, all that good stuff. But yes, my husband and I are working hard cleaning out stuff. I love it that you're saying the two of you are working together. I will just say this. I have done, and I'm currently coaching couples, because I know that what do I want to say? Clutter is not just a solo person thing. It's if you're living in if you're living in an abode, if you're living in a place with somebody else, the clutter affects everybody, right? So the fact that more people are involved in doing it definitely helps. Okay, Patricia is saying, I do the declutter and my grandchildren uncluttered. Okay, you get so frustrated. I can imagine. Notice that feeling of frustration. I don't know how old your grandkids are. Could you teach them? Decluttering is a life skill, everybody. Decluttering is a life skill. Maybe your kiddos don't know how to not be cluttered. Maybe you could just say, I'm saying maybe, but I'm just offering ideas. You do what you do, but I will say that you can also establish that regardless of how they live at their own home, when they're at your home, this is what we do. We play with our stuff for a while and then we put the stuff away. And it's not a big deal. It's not a power trip. It's just how you do these things. So I can imagine it's frustrating. Sell it to them. Say it's so much easier to find your toys when they're put away, that they don't get stepped on and broken because, they were out on the floor. But notice you can do something about this situation. Don't just throw your hands up in the air unless it's shake it like you just don't care. But you can do something about it. You can do something about your clutter. And I'm here to remind you of that and help you that. Okay? There we go. Started going through my sister's albums. She passed 20 years ago. But going to pass Denise and some Goodwill. Yeah, you know what? If you're talking about record albums, they will be very well received. I remember, because I'm a Gen Xer, about when records became old-fashioned and all of a sudden CDs were all the rage. Now the kids, and even my husband's a musician, we've always had records, but they're back in, so they will be well appreciated. Okay, so there we go. Oh, interesting. Yeah, not being decluttered and organized is expensive. Yeah, Gloria. I went on a trip and bought things I already had. That's going to happen. A lot of when I help people with clutter, it's like you don't even realize how much time it takes out of your life, how much money it takes out of your life, because you're buying duplicates, you can't find stuff, paying for storage units, all sort of, even just things that you think you're going to sell that you're not selling. So yeah, it can be. Decluttering is not just about how it looks. If it was, I would be bored in a hot minute. I'll be honest with you. I would be totally bored with what I'm doing if all I did was show up. Excuse me, I found a thread. I got a new hoodie. This is really funny. I'm totally detouring, but I just noticed. See this? This is totally bugging me. Can do something about it. Do I have ADHD? Could be. But hey, check it out. I go to Palm Springs, and what do? I buy a black hoodie. I'm so me. I crack myself up. But yes, decluttering costs you time, money, peace of mind. Look at Patricia saying, I get so frustrated when it's cluttered. We often forget the toll it takes on our physical and mental and emotional health and our nervous system when you're walking around in a cluttered space. When you look at a place that's decluttered, it gives your eyes and your brain and your nervous system just a chance to rest and to kind of, I know you can only technically exhale through your lungs, but you know that kind of exhale feeling where you look and you say, oh, that just looks so nice. Like even just saying that, I'm looking at a random spot on my wall, but it just feels so good, as Chuck Mangione would say. And I saw that record, actually, I took a picture of it when I was out in California, but don't forget, it's not just about how it looks, it's about how you feel when you're in your home. And decluttering, if you're feeling crappy in your home, decluttering can help you. Okay? Clutter. I love it. 5 huge contractor bags hauled off. Excellent. Yep. And OSU grad, you must make a plan. Correct. A little at a time keeps it from being overwhelming. Preaching, you know what? Testify. Having a plan. Now, plans can come and go. Plans will change. Plans are okay to be changed. But if you have no plan, then you don't get a lot done. But plan on it, and plan it in little chunks. As I like to say, chunk it down. Chunk it down, and that stops it from being overwhelmed. We as humans, we can be easily overwhelmed. So how do we not? I've learned that about myself. When we were away on vacation, we were going to go for a day trip, and I confessed to my husband, I said, I know what the sticking point is here, is that we're thinking of going there or there or there or there, and there are too many choices. I'm overwhelmed, so I'm going to shut down. So I said, let's just chunk it down. Let's pick one. Do we think that's the place? No, we don't want to go there. Let's go there. I had to coach myself on it, and I do this all the time. So you're not alone if you get overwhelmed by too much and too much choice. Okay? Okay, so Bren is saying 10 years of me saying, this is the year I get rid of all this stuff. Okay. Maybe it is the year. Maybe this is the year. Maybe 10 years ago, maybe you weren't ready. I like to say to myself, and again, to calm my nervous system, you know what? I choose to believe. Here, grab this one. This is one for my coaching and for myself. I choose to believe that. I choose to believe that this is the exact right time for whatever this is happening. I know myself, it took me many years to work on our clutter. So you're not alone, but maybe you're just ready now. So instead of crying over the years that passed, be excited about the journey you're about to start on. I love it. Yes, a little decluttering helps all the time. There we go. Amy says, I'm always looking for something to declutter when you're on. Yes, I'll be your Pavlov's dog. I will. Maybe I'm the bowl of kibble and you're the dog. I don't know who's the dog in this scenario. But yeah, you know what? I do this myself. I look around and say what can be decluttered. Now, I will say don't go overboard with it. Don't go overboard, because you don't need to. What I would encourage you, my vision for what I do is to get it so your house, you love how it looks, you love how it feels, and because it functions so well, it takes a minimum amount of time to maintain it. And not just you, but everybody in the house. And the goal really about that is so that you have more time and space to do the things you want to do in your life. I do not want you to spend too much time decluttering your home. I want you to go out and live. And this is why I show up on TikTok Live at noontime on a Tuesday after I've been traveling for a week, because I know how important it is. I was thinking to myself that 10 years, we went out to Palm Springs, California. I had wanted to go there for many years prior to our first trip, but even our first trip there was 10 years ago. I don't know about you, but decades to me fly by. A lot of stuff happens to them, but time is something you don't get back. So I want you to get your poop in a scoop. Let's get it so it's easy to live in your home, so then you have time and space and money to do the things you want to do, because you're not spending it on, storage units or doubles of stuff like that. Okay. Yeah, exactly. We are doing a room at a time. Yeah, we decided that when we get to 85, we don't want to deal with this stuff. That is an eye-opener to say, wait a minute, if I keep on going at this rate, how long is it going to be till I'm done? Start now. Yep. Isn't it interesting? Yeah, it makes me think of the holidays. Where, how, and why people store all those giant skeletons and Christmas stuff. Here's the fun thing. It brings them joy, so they find a space for it. Now, I don't know. I think it would be hysterical to have one of those sitting in your living room or something like that. One of those giant skeletons. I would like to think they break down into smaller bits. Again, overwhelmed, chunk down that giant plastic skeleton. But you will find space. Having space for what's important to you is part of what decluttering is. is you can't buy. Like if you have no place to store a giant skeleton, it's going to be hard for you to buy one, you know? There we go. Mary just says, I'm going to visit my sister in Florida tomorrow. Rock on. Warm weather right here. I cleaned out my closet while packing. Yes. Use anytime you open up your closet. It doesn't have to be this big production number, as my mother would call it. You know, I brought everything out of the closet and whatever. You can do it a bit at a time. I've done that, you know, with shoes when I'm getting ready for what do you call it? Traveling. I did that. I left a pair of sandals when we were in California because I was like, you know what? They hurt my feet. I try them. It's not working. And I donated them while we were there, you know? Mary got rid of 3 bags of clothes. Just you know what? You do it a little bit at a time. Culling. You know what that is? That's like weeding out your garden. Notice how when I say that, I use like almost a comb or a rake. You're not getting everything. It's not like a shovel, but you're pulling out what doesn't work. And it doesn't have to be, but every time you do that, you will have fewer things that don't work and you'll be left with the stuff that does. You know? I was already decluttering in my closet and looked up and it's breaking. Oh, at least it's not as cluttered. Yeah, good thing you found out about that stuff. That happened to us before. That happened to me last week, was it? The week before we went on our trip. We started doing some decluttering down the basement because my husband had some stuff that I wanted him to go through because it's our space. And we luckily had moved some things and our basement had started to flood a little bit. So it was good that we were down there noticing things that we might not have noticed before. Okay, there we go. Deanna's actually saying about my vintage train cases here. Just sitting empty, that's cool. I actually store things in this. Just so you know, storage, you can be creative about how you store things. These things have all sorts of stuff in them. Costume jewelry. Actually, I was going to say my what do you call it? You know, nuts and bolts and things for doing all sorts of things. They're organized. It's not just a bunch of mishmash. It's organized stuff, so I know where to look for things when I get there. Okay? There we go. Yeah, you know what? And seriously, you know what? Pulling out what you like sometimes is not even pulling out, but notice what you like and you keep it there. That's a fun way to I like to make decluttering fun. It's one of the reasons why I show up to do what I do, because I'm not bored by it, because I like to keep it entertaining and fun. So I say, instead of, notice what you're pulling out, but while you do that, notice what you're keeping in there because you like it. I love this, I'm going to keep it in here. I don't like this, I'm going to take it out. Or if you're not so sure, maybe what you do is you pull it to the other end of like the closet rod, right? You know, you say, okay, here's all the good stuff I like. This stuff I'm kind of iffy about. I'm going to at least pull it out so it's organized into categories. Okay? I love your creative story. Well, thank you. You know what? I worked in visual merchandising, and you know what? You can use anything. I helped a local family. I usually don't go in and help people in their houses, but they're good friends. And they were struggling with one of their son's rooms. And the really cool thing is that he had thrifted, or I don't know, probably trash picked like a little case, and I think it used to have like binoculars in it, but it was this case with a loop on it. And I said, well, how about this? Why don't you, he was just a little, God knows how old he is now, but he had like his little deodorants and stuff like that. I said, why don't you put them in there and then you can hang them on a hook here? And he's like, oh my God, I'd never thought of that. You don't always have to go to the Container Store. Not saying that I don't go to the Container Store for things, but see what you have already. Get creative. Everybody's so creative, right? So you can do this. You can. And if you're not doing it, you are worth figuring out why you're not doing it. And I'm going to offer to you that it probably has something to do with some thoughts in your head and some feelings in your nervous system that's keeping you stuck. That's good to know. Okay? So just notice that. And then you can do something about it. If I were to ask you, if one of the questions I ask when I'm on a consultation with somebody, if coaching is, what do you think is getting in your way of solving this? Because if you listen for the answer, you're already towards the solution, because the solution is usually the flip side of that. Okay? So that's why one of the reasons why I went and got my certification as a life coach is so I could, guide people through this journey of being, examining how you're thinking about your stuff makes you feel a certain way. This is kind of revolutionary. It didn't really, always at a certain level it did, but until I realized the depth of it, I was hanging on to stuff that made me feel bad. I was hanging on to too much stuff. I was hanging on to things that I was like, well, maybe I'll sell that someday. Well, that one, even though I don't like it, somebody gave it to me, and then as I got to know myself better, I realized me feeling bad is just making me feel bad about stuff. Okay. So I share this with you because it was a journey for me. So I am further along on the journey. I am by no means perfect. I am not, whatever, like the destination. When I talk about the destination of Destination Decluttered is almost just like your North Star is saying, what do I want my home to look and feel and function like? It can look and feel and function like you want it to. But what I want to say is that's also to encourage you to move towards what you love, Evolution Frenchies, would you share where you got the life coaching certification? Yeah, I can't remember. It's got a fancy name to it. I'm trying to think. I printed out my thing recently. Ethical Coaching Collective. Yes, the Ethical Coaching Collective. Because trust me, if I'm working with people and I am asking them to consider the stuff in their life, I totally want to be ethical about it. So I went to the Ethical Coaching Collective. You can Google them. So yes. I love it. Mary Jean says, I got a bunch of clear, sturdy containers at the thrift store for $1 each. Who doesn't love a bargain? I love a bargain. I'm going to use them to sort pictures in my friend's office. Wonderful. Wonderful. Sorting things into categories, okay? Sorting things into categories is going to help you just get a handle on your stuff. If you look at all sorts of pictures, you don't know where to start. Start small. Try to find a match. Oh, look, these are black and white. These are color. These have rounded edges and like a little pebbly, cover because they were from the 70s. Look, these look like Polaroids. This looks like it came from an Instamatic from 1963. Organize things in a way that makes sense to you. And then when they are in smaller piles, like instead of one big pile, I always say big piles to small piles. Even when I was helping my husband with his studio, it's like, you've got all this stuff in a big pile. You can start it sorting out, make it into categories. The moment you find kind of that little inroad to start moving and doing this, that's when you get momentum. Okay, there you go. Mary's saying I'm going to sort them by year. Oh, funny. Yeah, when you said match, I thought about burning it all down. No. Here's the sad thing. You wouldn't be the first person to say, I wish this place I could just, clean slate, start all over again. Be careful what you wish for, because I had a woman who came to me for coaching and her house had burned down. They had clutter in their house before, and their house caught on fire and burned down. They got a new house. They ended up with more stuff in it than ever before, because it wasn't about the stuff. It was about how they were thinking about their stuff and feeling about it that caused them to fill the house up again. Okay? So just notice that. We all would like to have a clean slate. You know what? We can erase some things from the slate. Just start with where you are now. Love yourself now. Forgive yourself for what you did in the past. And moving forward ahead and just getting a destination that gets you excited to want to move. Yeah. Sorting into categories is the way to go. It is. It takes the overwhelm out of it. When you're overwhelmed, you're seeing all of it too much. It makes no sense. It's all chaotic. But as soon as maybe this is just how my brain works, but I bet yours does too. When you see a match, again, a match, this is red, this is red. This is a Queen of Hearts, this is a Queen of Hearts. If you're playing cards when you're a little kid, you will start to notice that there are categories. And then when you do that, then you can make a decision about a category versus making all sorts of, at least you'll see the quantity of things you have. You may be surprised at how many spatulas you have. You may be surprised at how many, pairs of socks, when they're finally all washed, how many long sleeve black t-shirts do you really own? So you get to know yourself by seeing the things you tend to buy over and over again, and you buy in quantity. And then you can make a decision to say, is this the too much, or is this just right amount for me? And you can answer that with your own kind of thought process. I am here to just kind of help you even think of these questions to ask yourself. Okay? So that's why I'm here for you. All right? I love it. Mary says, I got clear bins to put stuff in and put the basement to go through and started clearing out the office. Awesome. Awesome. One thing I want to remind you of, though, everybody here, is not only is decluttering a life skill, at the very core of it, at least the way I coach, decluttering is a decision-making process. It is a decision-making process that basically goes like this. What is this thing? Do I want it or not? If I want it, where does it go? And if I don't want it, where does it go? And when you're making those decisions, I want you to think about this. You are practicing. Your decisions define your life. Whoa, I'm getting all life coaching and deep, aren't I? And it's only 12:30 in the afternoon. Your decisions define your life. You can decide what to do or what not to do. I know, frankly, can I be honest with you? I am feeling bloaty and out of shape because I made some decisions to eat a lot and drink a lot and not get as much exercise when I was on vacation. I made those decisions, and those decisions are making me feel kind of puffy. Okay? We're humans, all right? But what I will say is that the more you hone into what you want and what you don't want, your decisions can help you say no to the things you don't want. And then you will have a life that is filled with, yes, the things I do. And maybe the life choice things seem overwhelming. Like I will say, like I can help you to struggle. I'm struggling with my eating and, health choices as much as the next person. But I also know how when I am feeling better, I am making better choices. And I did make better choices on this trip more so than other trips. So I am a work in progress, as are you. Okay? The more you can learn to make decisions that lean towards the life you want, the more that it stops becoming a decision and just becomes the way you live. And with clutter, when you remove what you don't want, when you decide what you don't want, you're left with what you do want. Or you can hone in on what do I want, and then anything that isn't that goes away. Notice there's like a kind of a yin yang of it. There's the absence, there's the constructing, and there's the destructing. Okay? So just realize that every time you give yourself an opportunity to practice making a decision, and you're doing it with that thought in mind of, this is the life I want, then you build up that decision-making muscle and you get stronger at it. And you will see the results of when you make that decision. I think a lot of times people don't start to declutter because they don't really know why they're doing it. They may not know why they're cluttered, but they don't know, it's like, oh, so it looks cleaner. But you're really not motivated about how much of a difference it can make in your life. Yeah, Catherine says it's true. It's just like being at the, working out with weights, as they would say back in the day. Practice builds strength. Yeah, I practiced, asking myself, what is this thing? Do I want it? If I want it, lather, rinse, repeat. There we go. 2 hairless kiwis will help you feel less bloated, high fiber. I love it, Vicky. I will take that into account. I will. Thank you. Anita saying, wow, I need a pen and paper to write down all these great points. You can do, but you know what? Write them down and notice the power of writing something down. Everybody, if you wrote down this stuff and then you just let it absorb into you, that can have a lasting effect. Because I show up, here's the funny thing. We all have voices in our heads, right? Right? Me, you, right? You have a voice in your head that holds you back from what you want to do. You also have a quieter voice, but a more powerful one that once this one, as I always like to say, are backseat drivers, the one that's trying to stop you, if we can quiet that one down, quiet it down, breathing, get quiet, then your more powerful, more loving voice in your brain says, you can do this. You got this. You can start somewhere. You know what? Why don't you just try? Why don't you just put your hand on something and ask a question? The more you practice starting, the easier it will be to start. The more you're less fearful of what you might find with your clutter, the less fear you feel, the more easy it will be for you to start. If you're afraid of what you're going to feel, if you're afraid of what you're going to find, if you're afraid of the stories that are being activated in your head when you're looking at your stuff, and those freaking voices in your head are telling you how awful you are, who wants to start it when all you're doing is berating yourself? But when there's a method where you can go through it, where you quiet down your backseat drivers and you say, you know what, we're going here. I want to have a life where I feel better about myself. I feel better about my place, you know? Anita, Anita's asking, can I rewatch this live? Yes, you can. Yes, I do put them on YouTube. Destination Decluttered on YouTube. If you go there, you will find, I think, over 100 of them at this point, because I do these often. And it was somebody last spring, when I very first started doing TikTok Lives, who said, hey, could you record these so I can watch them? Somebody said it would help them. I did, so there they are. Okay, so yes, Destination Decluttered on on YouTube. I also show up on Instagram and Facebook. That's more so, though, for the people who aren't here on TikTok. TikTok, we get the best of all the worlds, okay? So we've got that. Maureen Ford is asking, where do we start? Okay, I get overwhelmed, and Tanya is saying, I get overwhelmed by the clutter and shut down. Struggles to get started. What would help? I'm going to help both of you, okay? I'm going to help everybody. This is how I explain it, and until I find a better way, this is how it goes. I want you to, I like to think of things in the opposite. I like to play this game called opposite, okay? So one of the things that helps me is that realizing if there's a problem, there's a solution. If I get a problem, I'll solve it. And I want you to think of the word overwhelm. If you were writing it down, you would be writing O-V-E-R, the word over. When you're overwhelmed, it's almost like looking at something too big. Overwhelm, it's too much. I'm in over my head. I'm looking up and I'm just overwhelmed. It's almost like a little kid, like there's too much. The opposite in this instance, I want you to think of as down, okay? So what do I mean by that? What I mean is a couple of things. Is the word down is going to help you. It's going to help you breathe down into your lungs. Everybody, breathe down into your lungs. Slow down your breathing. Calm down. Even notice my body movements here, It's almost like when you are overwhelmed, your hackles are up, your nervous system is activated. I was thinking about this almost like a dog or a cat when the hair goes up on their back, oh, too much, I'm activated. There was a little prickly thing. And you want to calm down your nervous system, your brain. Start with your body. Before you even start with anything out there, start in here. Calm down, slow down, feel better, and then chunk it down. Write it down. So notice there's a bunch of downs here. I like to call them all the downs. Write down the stuff you're overwhelmed by. Write down what you want your home to look like. Write down the stuff. Get your thoughts out of your head and onto paper. Write down today 3 things you can do to declutter your home today. Just 3. 3 is a magic number. Okay? It's not overwhelmed. I'm not saying everything. Start with 3. What are 3 things? Everybody right now, pick up your pen. What are 3 things you can do today to declutter your home? That are easy, that seem doable, that you say, when you picture that task in your brain, your nervous system says, that seems doable. I can do that. Not overwhelm. I can't do it. But small enough, chunked down to say, I can do it. Maybe you take out the trash. Maybe you do the dishes. Maybe you put 10 pieces of clothes into a bag for the Goodwill. And I say the Goodwill, but I just mean that as like a shorthand for donating. There are things you can do. But when you are in an activated nervous system state of overwhelm, it is really hard to do that. So practice calming down your nervous system. Notice even then, it's almost like if a dog was all like spooked and and you're like, it's okay. It's okay. Calming down, it's like a mammal. And even just right here in your heart. This is usually where I feel it, so you do too. Calm it down. All right? That's how you can even start to think about starting. And then when you feel better, you're going to do better. When you feel better in your head and your heart, then you can hear the voice that's going to say, yeah, I bet I could do that today. That doesn't sound too bad. And you lather and you rinse and you repeat. And you just keep on showing up like that. And you learn to expand your capacity. First of all, you learn, the more you do that, the less overwhelmed you will feel immediately. Because you'll look at something and be for a hot second, you'll be like, ooh, that's a lot. But then you're like, nope, I can do something about this. You won't have to do that at all. You'll immediately say, I can do something about this. And then when you say, I can do something about it, then ideally you will do something about it. You know, what's a little thing you could do today? All of the big things in life came from little things. You and I came from eggs and sperm and zygotes and electrons and all that. Giant skyscrapers came from little pieces of sand that made the concrete. Pyramids are little bricks. $1 million is a wicked lot of pennies. Remember this, all the big stuff started with the small stuff. And if you get overwhelmed, okay, that just keeps you stopped. So we want to overcome the overwhelm by chunking it down, slowing it down, so you get started. Okay? Okay, yeah. C is saying, my anxiety attacks are at an all-time high, and clutter is a big reason. Yes, it is. An anxiety attack is when your nervous system is all flared up and prickly. I get anxious. I feel an anxious feeling in my body. What's the opposite? So notice that. Okay? Notice that when you feel anxiety, it is a feeling in your feeling body. And when you don't pay attention to that, I'm not saying buy into it, notice it and say, what could I do? What's the opposite? If I'm feeling prickly, maybe I calm it down. If I'm feeling like I can't breathe, maybe I do the breathing. Maybe if I feel paralyzed, maybe I move around. Maybe I just shake it off like Taylor Swift and say, okay, enough of this. I want to get started, and you do it. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, and here's a really good one. Yeah, Annalisa's saying, therapy is helping me realize I don't have to be overly excited to get things done. No, this isn't, I agree with you, and I'm so glad you're learning that, because many of us, and especially people who are on the ADHD spectrum, think that the only time we are ever productive is when we are in that kind of halcyon, hyper-focused, motivated state. Now, trust me, I'm not saying that when those states happen to not use them, but that's like being a creative person and waiting around for inspiration. It may never happen, or it happens so few and far between, it's an all or nothing. It's like I do nothing until I'm inspired, and then I do nothing. That is going to make it take so much longer for you to declutter, to write a book, to create anything, to create a life you live. If you say, I'm only going to do it under these right conditions. This is another thing, chunking it down and doing a little bit at a time will allow you, it's like a road trip. It's like a road trip. You want to get to Palm Springs, California from Pennsylvania? You drive, but are you going to say, I'm only driving when the weather is conditions are perfect, and then, if it isn't, I'm not going to go? Well, it's just going to take you so much longer to get there than if you say, I'm going to drive a certain little bit every day. Okay? Okay. Melissa is asking, did you find that it's easier to start in one room and finish that room before moving on to the next? So here's what I will offer. This is what I feel about this. And I know that because I know people who have ADHD who tend to buzz around, who resist that feeling of containment. I want you to practice containing your decluttering for a certain amount of time in one room. And I say this because even if you tend to be distracted, practicing focusing can help you in your ADHD brain. Allowing yourself an opportunity to buzz around is also a good thing. But what I will say is, when you start in one room, what you do is you allow yourself to see the fruits of your labor more easily because you're not doing a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there. You're able to see when you focus on something, you will see a quicker result visually. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to put down like barriers, but you can practice. Melissa, if you've got an hour that you're going to declutter every day, how about this? Set your timer for half an hour and work in one room. And after that half hour is done, then you can release yourself and then putter around into other rooms. Like, for example, if you're in one room and you find things that belong in other rooms. But practice showing up and focusing, because that will build your focus muscle. I'm not saying you'll be it's not going to be perfect, nor do I want you to be, because I think the ADHD brain and people who buzz around from things, we make connections that nobody else does. But also, if we don't learn to work with our brains and help our brains focus, and I do it myself. I will say, hey, squirrel, look I did it earlier. I was doing this, but I could talk while I was doing it. But the more you practice strengthening your focus, even for 5 minutes, you will see a better result because you will have focused your efforts in one area versus spreading it out. Okay, yeah. And I know the ADHD brain comes up a lot with decluttering, and I have it in my family. We've got undiagnosed and untreated. We've got diagnosed and treated, and we've got the spectrum, okay? I like to say that everybody's brain is different, frankly. I don't think there's neurotypical. I think people hide it a lot. But what I want to offer to you is, regardless of how your brain works, however you define your brain working, find out what works for you, but also gets you the result you want in the time you want it to. Like, if you want to only do it on the days that you're feeling hyper-focused, that is your choice. But knowing that those hyper-focused moments only come occasionally, they're like, nothing, all, nothing, all, nothing, that's going to take you longer because you're waiting in between saying, I'm going to do nothing and then I'm going to do a lot. Even regular folks do this. Folks do this. I mean, I can't do anything during, does this sound familiar? In our Monday through Friday world, I can't do anything decluttering because during the week, because I'm too tired, I work, yada, yada. So I'll wait until the weekend and then I try to do it all on the weekend. Well, that just gives you more. You've let it pile up during the week, and then you just have more to do over the weekend, and then you don't have your weekend to go have fun and relax and play. Okay? So work with your brain. Have a conversation. Get to know your brain and your nervous system. What does it feel like when you are looking at something and you're like, "Oh, I don't want to touch that," or "Oh, I don't. All right, ooh, I can't get rid of that." Where is that coming from? Okay, yeah. Awesome Sauce just said, "Weekend warrior." Yeah, that all or nothing mentality isn't sustainable. And it just takes longer. I mean, again, going back to, this is why I call my coaching Destination Decluttered, is because if you think of it like a road trip, if you want to drive 1,000 miles, or I will walk 500 miles, I will drive 500 miles, 50 miles a day and then a little bit at the weekend seems so much more doable. You get to get out and stretch and do a little bit, versus nothing, 500. Nothing, 500. Little bitting it at a time versus all or nothinging it is the way to go in so many things. It's not just about decluttering. I'm a life coach because I know that the reason I did that is because I saw the pattern that when you baby steps, one foot in front of the other, when you do that in your decluttering and you learn how to do it and you see your results in your house, you're going to say, oh man, that wasn't that bad. Where else in my life can I apply this methodology, this thought process? And then you may find, well, I want to learn how to play guitar. How do I start? What do? I practice a little bit every day. I don't just wait until one day and then practice for 4 hours. A little bit at a time. Okay? There we go. Dorothy says, I started a plan of baby steps for cleaning. Yeah. A counter at a time. A thing at a time. Yeah, okay. And Inessa says, I have to do one room at a time myself. If I'm all over the place, it can be overwhelming. Yes, because it dissipates your energy and your focus. Because I feel like the ADHD brain or brains, it's like you see things and your brain can think faster than whatever. So you're like, oh, look at that. I should do this and I should do this. It's like a running chatter in the brain. But that can be helpful at times. But when you want to see the results of what you do, sitting down, practicing showing up for little bits of time is a way that you can change your life. Yeah, categorizing one room at a time, one task at a time. And if this is triggering your, nervous system, if you are hearing in your head, no, I can't do it that way, I'm not saying there's a right way or a wrong way, but I'm just saying get curious about that. What is your fear of focusing for even 5 minutes on something? Because here's a fun thing. We think 5 minutes is like, I can't do anything. I don't even have 5 minutes. 5 minutes can make a huge difference. You would not, how uncomfortable would it be if it's 12:46 right now, if I just sat here silently until 51? 5 minutes? 5 minutes is a long time. Even 1 minute. So if you say you don't have time, that's also just a story you're telling yourself, because you could sit down for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and you could write down what you want your home to look and feel like, what you want to do in your life. You have the time. You make the time for things now. Make time for things that are important to you. Make space, Katie's saying, you've helped me see the value in items, and I've started tossing gross things that I can buy later. Yeah, if you even need it, Everybody, all of our brains are different. And here's a fun thing, and I haven't unpacked my bag yet, but I have this little thing that I bought when I was on vacation. Now, as some of you know, if you've heard me for any length of time, that I do have a big collection of souvenir snow domes that I started collecting like in the 80s. That are on display in my living room. And I don't see as many of those anymore. They don't make the ones that I like. However, I did buy this thing, and I will show it on a future TikTok live. And it's one of those things where it's like got the oil and the water in it, and it's got, I was trying to get one with surfers on it, but this one's even better. It's got like flamingos on it. And what it just reminded me of, and I bought it specifically for you guys because I wanted you to think of every day your energy is different. Every day your focus is different. Every day it's a balance. And it's not an all or nothing. It's never 50-50 straightforward. It's always going to be somewhat fluid because you're a human and you're filled with fluids. And if I keep on drinking tea, I'm going to have to empty out some fluids, okay? But think about this. Work with yourself. Be kind to yourself. I know we got home late from traveling last night. I even know right now the fact that I had to stumble on my words. I'm not 100% on my game. I'm treating myself kindly today. I am being more loving when I'm making decisions or I'm struggling with stuff because I haven't had a lot of sleep. I am coming off of vacation. Love yourself however you are, okay? Yeah, kind of like a lava lamp, Pam, but kind of, I'll show it once I unpack my bags. I promise. Tomorrow night, actually, I'm doing a TikTok live, okay? I do it at night because somebody asked me. You guys, especially West Coasters and things, have asked me to, so 8 p.m., and then I will do more. But what I want to offer to you is every day, notice this about yourself. Every day, your focus, your energy, your mindset, your body, clue into what's going on and then proceed accordingly. If you get that hyper focus, hell yeah, like seriously, harness that lightning in a bottle because it doesn't happen all the time. But don't wait for it. If you don't feel like lightning in a bottle, you say to yourself, as I do, okay, what's a little thing I can do today that's going to make my life better? I went to yoga this morning, even though, man, I was creaky, I'm feeling, blah. I went and I said, you know what, this is going to make me feel better than if I don't go. After I sign off right now, I'm going to walk down to the post office because I want to get some exercise. I want to move my body because I was stuck in a, airline seat. And I'm going to do these little things every day so that I feel better. I move my body. I drink some water. I breathe. I, do my best to show up for people that I don't even know because I know what a difference it is. And you guys, it does make a difference. Okay? Oh, that's awesome. Annalisa says, I wanted to tell you that I have used chunking things down for my dad's estate and I'm almost done. I love it. There we go. And I'm not from Canada. I'm from Boston. But I say things weird. And I have fun with it. There we go. Dorothy says, my hubby surprised me. He moved my craft desk and he got me a 5-tier shelving unit. It's so good to have. I love it. Okay? I just notice it. So, all right. I love it. Cat Mama is doing paper clutter as we talk. So yeah, you guys, life is short. So am I. Life is short and you never know how much time you have. So why not start now to say, regardless of how much time I have, I want to start living the life I want. I want to make the most of the time I have. I want to spend time and money on things that are important to me. I'm probably saying a lot, but this is one of the reasons why I show up in the clutter world, because I know first hand and second hand and third hand how a cluttered home can affect how you think, how you feel, how you act, where you spend your money. The quality of your life is affected by how much clutter you have in your house. I totally believe that. And it's not just the stuff on the surface either. There is surface clutter. You've been into it, it looks good on the outside, but don't open that door. Don't open that drawer. Oh my gosh. If somebody came into my house and I had to tell them where, the toolkit was, would they be able to find it? It's the stuff that's behind the scenes that you maybe are saying, I can't deal with it. I have to make decisions. I don't know. That's what coaching helps you with. It's the stuff that you struggle with. That's why I exist in your life, because you're struggling with something and the universe said, hey, if you got a problem, I'll solve it. I'm going to send, Destination Decluttered to you. Is all of us struggle with something, but there's help out there for all of us. And if you're struggling with clutter, there's things you can do that may not have even occurred to you. I learned how to be decluttered and I did it for decades. I've learned little things from every job that I've picked up and every, coaching that I've had of my own stuff and seeing the parallels and creating a way that works for me. And then I said to people that I knew, I was like, hey, I'm trying this out. Does this work? And then I offer it to, my paying clients, and I show up doing TikTok lives because I know what it's like to feel like you're stuck and overwhelmed and that this is all there is. And oh my God, my life is passing me by and this is not what I want to feel like. I know exactly what that's like. And I want to let you know that there's another way to think and feel and do about it. And if you're afraid, if it seems too overwhelming to figure out your life, I have been there. Let's practice this decision making with just the stuff in your house. Okay? Just the stuff in your house. There we go. German May 95 says, my goal is to get rid of 2 more boxes this week. Today I'm catching up on housework first. There we go. All right. User 8274 is saying, I'm drowning. Notice that metaphor. I'm drowning. I'm in above my head. It's too much. What we want you to do is get it down to the level of just right for you. Nobody else is just right. You're just right. So you don't feel like you're drowning. Maybe you feel like you're kind of floating along where you can breathe, okay? And worry, I'll never finish it all, even if I died of old age. Okay, so if you are truly not truly drowning because you'd be in water, worrying you never finish it, even if I died of old age, get some help. I may not be the help you need, but I may be the help you need that says to you, get more help. If you are hoarding, and this is to anybody, if you have such a quantity of stuff that you can't do it by yourself, get some help. Hire some people. Get your family involved. If it's hoarding level, get yourself some mental health help. There are people out there who are professionally trained, clinical, mental health professionals who can help people with hoarding. I do coaching one-on-one via Zoom with a certain category of people who are not on the hoarding spectrum, or they're like 1 and 2s maybe, but if you are feeling like you're up there, honor that and get the help that you need that is going to solve the problem. For example, I like to work in the words of, your, what do I want to call it? Like your car as a motif. Like if your car is not running, you probably are not going to bring it to Jiffy Lube for an oil change. You could, but all they can do is change the oil. What you probably want to do is bring it to somebody who can look under the pop open the hood and diagnose what's there and fix it. So get the level of help that's going to help you get to where you want. Okay? Yeah. And thank you so much for people saying, helping other people here. This is the one cool thing that I just love about every time I do a TikTok live about the people on the Destination Decluttered mailing list. Shameless plug, destinationdecluttered.com/join. When we do our monthly free Zoom call, like group coaching, it is so great to feel the sense of community. Community meaning you're not alone in this. The fact that Sally is helping user 8274 about stuff that they missed, that Princess is congratulating somebody else, all of these things. We are all in this together. Okay. So hopefully that makes you feel less alone, because we as humans, we get activated when we're like, oh, I'm the only person who struggles with this. I'm alone. There's something wrong with me and nobody else is having it. No, silly. We all struggle with this. We live in a capitalist society that tells us to buy things to make us feel better and discourages us from introspection. Of course we feel this way, It's like we're looking outwards to be like, oh, I just need to put on a filter. I just need to get Botox. I just need to buy that thing. I just need to go on a diet because whatever it is. Let's quiet all that shit down. Whoosh. Quiet that down. Push it aside. Say, what can I do today? You and I have 4 minutes. Yeah, about 4 minutes left while I do this TikTok live. How about, do you have something to write down with? Don't just keep your thoughts up here. Please don't. This is going to help you. Get yourself what I call a workbook, and just even right now, in these next few minutes, just 3 things. 3. It's all I ask of you. What are 3 things you could do today to get your home less cluttered? That takes you less than an hour, less than a half hour, less than 20 minutes. Notice what I was doing right there? I was chunking down the time. If an hour seems like, ooh, that's too much, how's a half an hour? I don't know. I could probably do, no, still no. Okay, how about 20 minutes? Chunking things down until you hear that and feel that doable. I can do something about that. Write down the 3 things and then show up at tomorrow night's TikTok Live and share your celebrations. And notice how it feels when you take your thoughts from your head and you write it down. And then you do the thing and then you cross it off. I love crossing off. That's a dopamine rush. Anybody who wants a ADHD thing, writing down the thing is good. Checking it off, you got it done, is even better. Okay? Kim, you're welcome. You know what Kim is saying, and this is for the people who are watching the recording, typically on Destination Decluttered on YouTube, because these comments don't go by, so I repeat them so folks know. Kim is just saying, love all the information you share. You have a very kind way about you. Thank you. You're welcome, Kim, and I will share with you, okay? When somebody yells at me, I will cry. I know I am inspired to take action when I am treated with kindness and love and respect, instead of being yelled at and what is that? Like the guy, like the drill sergeant. And so there are people out there who prefer the drill sergeant approach. Hey, have at it. I know that kindness and love and patience and things will encourage people more than anything else. And especially if that kind of yelling activates your nervous system, then you're going to be in a fight or flight mode anyway. So, yeah. And country fences, I would say this. You can ask people for help. They may not even know money. But get the word. If you ask the universe, God, to send you some help, however you want to say, whatever the energy is out there. But when you put it out there that you want something, the universe and your brain are going to conspire to bring it to you. Okay? Just notice that. Okay, right, Grace. I wrote down 3 things so fast. I could probably think of 100. Yes, you could. But notice that the 100 may overwhelm you. So start small. 3, then 3, then 3, then 3, then maybe 6, then maybe 9. Notice when it starts to feel overwhelming, and when you start to recognize how it feels when you're overwhelmed, you can stop it before it becomes totally full-blown overwhelm anxiety. Okay? All right, notice that user 8383, my husband will belittle me as to why I want to keep something, so I shut down. Yeah, notice that. Notice that sometimes the negative voices that we have in our heads aren't outside of our heads. I call those the external co-pilots, people who talk mean to you so you feel bad, so you shut down. Okay? Just notice that. There we go. Grace is going to take out the trash, change the sheets, and make the bed and go through the mail. That sounds awesome. Let me ask you this. It's 1 o'clock. What are you going to do today to get your home less cluttered, to get your life less cluttered? Write it down. Do it. Cross it off. And then tomorrow night, TikTok, Destination Decluttered. Here I am. If you don't know me, like my page, follow, do all the things. 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. we're going to do an evening TikTok live. Show up with your list of wins. You'll have it because you've written it down. Okay? And then lather, rinse, repeat. Okay? Linda, I'm excited to start, but my family don't want to. Linda, you start. You can only change yourself. You can't change to other people. You start, you work with you. When you find out what works with you, then you can better help other people. That's why I'm here. Okay? So I am signing off right now. It has been a joy and a pleasure, as always, to meet some new people. Okay. Notice these things about you. The more you are aware of what makes you work and what doesn't, the more you can discourage the stuff that doesn't work and encourage the things that do. Okay? I will see you tomorrow. My 3 things are, I'm going to go declutter my P.O. box because people on the Destination Decluttered mailing list probably wrote to me for free stickers. I'm going to unpack my bags and put stuff in the laundry. And honestly, I'm going to take some time to recover my energy so that tomorrow, when I do a TikTok live, I am going to be spot on. Okay? I love it. Joanna finished the dishes and made banana bread. Rock on. You can do this. You can do this. All right? I'll see you tomorrow.